Hi everyone. If my camera suddenly falls, it's because I'm trying to different angle. So I've promised, it's been requested and I've promised to show this little mini, and I followed the instructions that Dawn, who is ArtsyMouse here on YouTube and formerly TuberDawn, had shown. So this is using one sheet of paper, and this one I adapted just the covers to be a little longer because the inside I have tags, actually little manila folders that are longer than the 2.5 by 2.5, but the instructions I'm going to give you are going to make this size book. And I have some already in various stages of completion, but I wanted to show you from the beginning, and you know, you can decorate with whatever you would like. So this is going to be the final size. So it's 2.5 by 2.5, and I just happened to round this top corner off. And I'm going to show you with a white piece of paper, but these are all made with craft paper. And the reason I've chosen craft paper for these is because the chipboard and craft paper are very, very close in color, so I don't have to do anything to the edges if I don't want to. I'm kind of keeping it clean. So I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to show you how I get started. So this began as a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I've trimmed it down to 10 by 7, and I've saved the scraps. The scraps aren't going to be necessary for this particular project, but they're nice to have on hand for little projects like these little quick cuts dies. You could get quite a few out of these little scraps that you ordinarily would have tossed, and I've even doubled up on these and made them really sturdy. So that's a quick little tip. So don't toss those. Put them aside in your little recycling or, you know, reuse segment. So I have, and I'm sorry, white balancing, it's just going crazy. It'll change in a second. So I have the 10 by 7 page. I'm going to grab my Martha Stewart scoreboard and put it down. And the dimensions are 10 the long way, 10 this way, 7 vertically, 10 horizontally. So it lying out this way, I'm going to score at 2.5, and I'm using a ballpoint embosser because my Martha Stewart score tool fell off somewhere, and it's like needle in a haystack. So 2.5, 5. You don't need to score very hard because I'm going to use a bone folder, and 7.5. Did I score? You know what? I scored at the wrong spot. See? I guess I can't talk and chew gum at the same time. I'm not chewing gum. I'm just going to grab another piece of paper. It's okay, you get to see that I'm not infallible human. Just like everybody else, I can make a mistake, so I'm just going to recut a piece of paper to 10 by 7, and I'm using my Fiskars extend arm with the little metal guide. So I have a 10 by 7. That's okay. I'll reuse that scored piece of paper for something else. A die cut. Maybe I'll make a whole bunch of those tiny little tags. Okay, that put aside. So let's try again. Oh, see, my cat's been by here. So 2.5. And you want to make sure your paper is buttered up to the corner, right here. So you have a square, it's squared up. 2.5, 5. Didn't look right immediately when I saw them, like, that's not right. And 7.5. And you want to place your hand gently over the page that you're scoring. You don't want to press too hard, and you want to make sure that the page doesn't go anywhere. So now you have equal increments. Let's see, there you go, see the score lines. Now I'm going to turn it, quarter turn, and score. I'm just going to move it over so you could see the whole thing. I'm going to score at 1. Again, I'm holding it down, scoring gently, and I would rather go over twice gently than once too hard and rip through the paper. At 3.5, 3.5 is the middle. So what you're doing is you're finding the center, and at 6, and then the two side 1-inch score marks are going to be your little pockets. So there you go. So I'm going to set aside my scoreboard, grab my bone folder. Having the right tool for the right job is key. So now I'm going to score. Let me, while I have that, grab my long Martha Stewart scissors because I'll be using them in a sec. So now that I have everything scored up, I'm going to fold. I'm going to fold middle first. And then folding up each of the 1-inch sides. Now I'm going to fold each of the individual 2.5-inch score marks. And again, there are lots of tutorials out there showing exactly how to, this is really thick cardstock, so that's why I want to make sure that I fold and score. So now that I've scored everything, and actually I think Dawn's tutorial shows the mini using a 12x12 sheet, so, and she does give the dimensions for that. So what I'm going to do is, the only cut line that you need to make is the center line going 3/4 of the way. So because there's 4 different segments, see 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to cut the center line, which is the one right here, up to here. And actually, you could use a trimmer. Let me use my trimmer, because then it'll be more precise, and especially since I have the little metal guide. Flip it over this way so it's lying flat. And I'm going to only cut 3/4 of the way. Okay, these trimmers, this is the inch marker. This little gap in the middle, it gives you a little notice so you know that's where it is. So that cut up to the last one, that's exactly what I wanted. So now we could start folding it and creating the little pockets. So now that I have this folded and cut, I'm going to, with a cut towards you like this, the uncut section like this, this is going to be your center. And you fold back and forth, back and forth. So I'm just going to crease each fold line so it's nice and crisp. The bottom part, if you're using heavier paper, it'll get a little bulky, but you could use thinner paper and just use chipboard like I'm going to use for the covers. So now that I have everything folded up, this is the way it's going to open. There'll be a cover and a back, and it's going to open up this way, and then I have the little pockets. And there's only a couple of places where you need to add adhesive. You could use glue, you can use glue stick, you can use quick dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use red line tape, and I think I'm going to use a little thinner one. This is a quarter. I think I'm going to use thinner than 1/4 inch because I want to make sure that I have as much of this pocket available as possible. So there's going to be a couple of places where you're going to add the score tape or the adhesive. On the edge here, on the very first one, on the edge of these two, and then on the inside to adhere it together so you don't have this little gap, and then on the edge of the very last one, and then on the outside adhering your cover. So I'll be right back. Once I've had, I'll add the glue, and then I'll show you, or the glue strips, and I'll show you where to remove them. And I'll probably switch over to the craft paper one because now I've shown you the white one. Okay, so I've added red line tape, and I've used 2 different sizes, the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 of an inch, and these are 20-yard spools, which is way more than you get at the store. I'm going to have these available on my blog shortly. I'm just waiting for the wholesale order to arrive. So I've added it to the ended flap, which is the one that's going to make one of the centers. I've also added it to the ends of each of the pockets. And one of the reasons some people don't use red line tape is it's got this static quality, and all you need to do is grab your little embossing buddy if you have it. If not, you could use a already used fabric softener sheet from your dryer and just rub it over where the tape is. That should help prevent, or it should cut down on some of the static properties of the refuse pieces, which, see, not stuck to me, which is great because that's always been one of the reasons why I've reverted to using something else. But nothing really replaces red line tape because it's so super strong. So all I'm going to do is close this up because I've already scored everything to fit. So now the center is adhered, and then I'm going to remove the adhesive from the little flaps for the pockets, and then fold those in. If you're using pattern paper, keep in mind that when you fold this, and double-sided pattern paper, this portion will be reversed, or will be upside down, so it's probably best to use patterns that don't have an obvious direction to them. In other words, text, so you don't have the upside down text unless you don't care, or if that's the effect you're going after. Just keep that in mind if you're using the pattern paper. So that's all I've done, is just squish those together, and now I have all the little folders created. I've already taken the score tape cover off of this. I'm going to put a piece of probably black lightweight chipboard over this particular one, but before I do that, there's a couple of steps that I need to take. So let me switch over. So this is a sample one I've been showing you. Let me switch over to my craft one, which is at the next stage. So all of this has already been adhered. I even have the chipboard covers on, the front and back. And then I have 2 layers of craft paper, which I've run through an embossing folder. Let me just grab which one it is. It's Cuttlebug one. It's this one. And it's really nice. You could leave it just as is, or you could run ink over it, or once you're finished you could run Rub and Buff, or excuse me, any of your shiny products like Glimmer or Glaze or Lindy's, whatever your preference is. So now the only thing that I need to do is pick out the ribbon that I want to use. And this, I just love the kind of the industrial chic because it's all recycled materials, or it looks like recycled materials, but then you have this like glittery ribbon. So then, and the only additional thing that we need to cut is the spine. So I'll be right back with those two cut for this particular dimension. Okay, what I've done is I've picked out a couple of different colors of pattern paper, and this is Die Cuts with a View from the fall. I think it's Indian Summer from a few years ago, but it's really nice. It's not color through the cork because once you cut it you see that it's white, but it has a nice like linen texture, which is similar to what I used for this black binding. So I've picked out some of the colors that I know that my Wild Bunch girls like, and actually these little minis are for them for, oh, let me move the camera over this way, there you go. Just as a thank you, because every girl likes to hear that they're appreciated, and boy of course, but I just so happen to have girls on the team right now. So I've added score tape, not score tape, red line tape, see? Blooper, red line tape to the cover pages, but first I'm going to adhere the ribbon, and the ribbon is going to go front, around the spine, and around the back. Sorry, front, around the spine, and around the back. So that way when it's closed you could just tie it off, the way this one is. And then the cover goes on top. And these are the spines, so the various color spines. I think I'm just going to do the green one. And I've cut it to 2.5 by 2. I'm going to score 3/4 inches in, 1/2 inch, so it'll be 3/4 in the front, 3/4 in the back, and 1/2 inch spine, which should be, I think, sufficient. So let's get that going. And I've looked at some of the ribbons that I picked up over the holidays, these shiny shimmery things, so now I just need to decide. These are going to be for the other two. Should I do a blue or a contrasting green? I mean a green or contrasting blue. I think Robin really likes this blue, so I think I'm going to do the blue, although it's really nicely monochromatic with the green. Alright, let me do the green and I'll do the embellishments in blue. So I need about 10 inches. So that should be, well, maybe a little more. So 12 inches. Try to make sure that there's plenty of space to attach it and then tie it. Because you can trim back a little. If you don't have enough, that's too late. So let me measure this out, see how much that is. 9. It's about 11 inches. So I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to put red line tape on the inside of it as well. Okay, so I have my ribbon trimmed down to the length that I need. I'm going to take my red line tape, and there's a little guide piece that sits on top of the tape. Save that, because that'll help you from having to search for the beginning part each time. So I just save that, and then I know exactly where the start of the tape is. So instead of applying the tape to the ribbon, I'm going to apply it to the chipboard. So I'm going to lie it across the front, in the middle, and then across the spine with a little bit of give, and then across the back, and then trim it off. And then I'll just run the ribbon across it. Before I forget, I'm going to put my little tape start marker back, and then I'm all good to go the next time. Alright, let me grab my little buddy, get the stickiness off of it, and I think I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to fold the ribbon in half so I can find the center, and then starting at this guide right here, I'm just going to flip one side up So I know that's about halfway right here. Okay. So I'm going to peel it off in the back first. Peeling this off. Actually, I could probably peel the whole thing off. So, no stickiness. So that little trick really does help. Alright, so now I'm going to place it right in the center. Pull up the ribbon in the back. And give it a little bit of a give. Pull it in the front. So there, it's all stuck down. I have the open book where I could put little tabs in. So now I'm ready to adhere the front and back cover, and I've already placed the tape. Just gonna peel it off. Is this the front? No, that's the back. And actually, if you don't round the corner, then it doesn't really matter because they're all exactly the same dimensions. 2.5 by 2.5. I just rounded one corner to give it a little bit something different. And again, I'm using my nails, but you could totally use a pair of tweezers. And I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to line up the front cover and the top and bottom because this is going to be covered. So I'm not too concerned if it's, you know, a little off there. And this red line tape is fabulous for this application because it cures, and it typically cures overnight. So you have a little bit of give now and less so, you know, say tomorrow. So I'm just going to remove the last of these and put the back on, and then we can score the spine and put that on, and then it's on to just decorating. If you guys are interested in seeing more of these start to finish, please let me know, because from time to time I forget that some people really want to see the process versus just the final product, whereas I'm usually running in between projects and work and all sorts of things, so I get a chance to do a video in the end of the end product, but not the progress itself. Oh, I love this glittery ribbon. It's just so cool. Oh, and I totally didn't get in the middle, but that's okay. I'm gonna tie it in. Robin will forgive me. So now I'm just gonna score the spine, and then I make sure it's exactly the same length. It looks like it might be just a tiny little bit off. So I'll be right back after I score this, and I'm gonna score it 3/4 inches. 3/4 and then 1/2 inch, and so it'll be 3/4 on both sides of a 1/2 inch center. Okay, I'm going to show you the scoring as well. I don't want to leave anything out, so I have the 2 by 2.5. It's 2.5. No, 2. Did I cut this too short? No. It's 2 inches wide by 2.5 long. Okay, so I'm gonna score it with a smaller ball point at 3/4 inch, and save a 1/2 inch spine, so at 1 1/4. See, I still have my bone folder out. Oh, glitter. And I'm going to add tape on the 2 flaps, but not in the middle. I want the middle to be flexible for the spine. So again, I'm taking off the little cheat piece and adding, and I think I have 1/2 inch tape too, but I didn't grab it, so just use this, which is fine. I'm going to put 2 strips of it because I want to make sure this is nice and solid, because most of the tension from opening and closing will be in the spine. But since we've used good products all along, it should hold up for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these little books with tags of why I appreciate the girls. They go above and beyond their expected responsibilities, which is really great. It's testament to their work ethic. It's also a testament to their level of responsibility. They've taken on not only representing the online shop that they designed for, but we've also turned into online friends, which is really nice. So I'm gonna replace my little lead thing, and now I have this all set. So I have my, let me just make sure that it sits properly. Let's see. I'm gonna align it to the bottom, make sure that I have plenty of space. See, I have a little bit that I could trim off the top. What I think I might do, line it up, and then maybe I'll just use an X-Acto. I'll put it on and then I'll use an X-Acto to trim it up. But you could do whichever your personal preference is. So I'm just taking off the tape. You want to be careful. Don't stick your freshly made nails across this tape. It will absolutely rip that off. So I'm going to stand this up and butt it up. This way I have the bottom all secure. There you go. So you see the center is not adhered, so you could move freely. And you could fill it up with whatever you'd like. So then just to decorate it, I will oh, I love this green ribbon. I might actually just trim it down so it sits like this, because it's nice and strong. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And I'm not gonna toss these because I'll probably use it as part of the decoration. So there's the little mini undecorated but put together. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this off. Actually, to trim it off, I'm gonna open this up and find the center and trim it down. See, that was easy. Tiny little bit, so not too shabby. Oh, I just love the little shiny ribbon. Oh, am I gushing about my own thing? Sorry. You know, that's a pet peeve of mine. I'm sorry if I just offended anyone, but you know, you can appreciate what you've, you know, if you like something, how it came out. Oh, I like this. So here's a little bit, and I have lots more. I have one for each of the girls. I'm working in all their favorite colors, hopefully. Been kind of keeping an eye. So I will have a full list of the directions and the dimensions on my website, on my blog, along with some close-up photographs, as well as after I decorate them, because this video is already so long. But I just wanted to show you, because several people have requested the construction of these. It's really simple. Once you get going, they're almost like assembly style, because look, I have 3 more right here, and I just have a few more to make. So I have one all done, and oh my god, I think I have Wildworker Craft green glitter, the Kelly green glitter that matches that. That'll be perfect. So I'll decorate the cover, and then I'll put little notes inside for each of the girls, inside little tabs. So there you go. If you have any questions for me, or if you want to know any more information about any of the products that I've used, please leave me a comment. I will let everyone know via, I'll post a video when I have these available on my blog. I'm just waiting for the arrival, and they come in their own little packaging. Let's see if this is the 8th, and I will be putting kits together, not of this particular, but of other stuff, and my kits will have something that I don't think I've seen anyone else offer, is I I guess I could show you a sneak peek before I end the video. I did get these, and they're so stinking cute. I had to do it. So I'm putting together kits of the Donna Salazar Gorgeous watercolor paper, and it'll be kind of Valentine's themed. And I'm going to have its own little roll of 5 yards of red line tape available in the kit. So there you go. Stay tuned. If you have any questions for me, please leave me a comment. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching.